Quick question. Given what happened last night, apparently in Ohio today somebody attempted to rush Mr. Trump's stage. Online people who were behind last night's unrest or protest seem emboldened by what they carried out last night. I guess my question to you is, do you feel concerned about that as it relates to your campaign or the Republican campaigning in general? Or?
Well, listen, no protester has the right to carry out violence. No protester has the right to threaten violence. And the First Amendment protects all of our rights to speak, but it doesn't protect your right to silence others. And so we've seen protesters show up at these events that are trying to shout down the speech, that are trying to disrupt. And that's wrong. It's abusive. It's something the Black Lives Matter movement has pushed. It's something sometimes there are allegations the Bernie Sanders campaign pushes. That is wrong. Nobody has the right to silence the free speech of Americans. But at the same time, I think in any campaign, responsibility starts at the top. And the way you interact with the citizens, even those who disagree with you, I think conveys a lot about a candidate. I am running not to be the president just of Republicans. I'm running to be the president of Republicans, of Democrats, of independents, of libertarians. I'm running to be the president of all Americans. And you know, as we campaign, we have protesters. But unlike Donald Trump, I don't ask people in the audience to punch them in the face. I don't ask them to engage in physical violence against the protesters. Now, if the protesters are disruptive, they're just shouting things out, then law enforcement will remove them. They don't have the right to infringe on the free speech rights of others. But more than once, I've had protesters who get up and raise a point, and if they're being civil and courteous, I'll actually engage in a conversation with them and treat them with civility and respect. And I think the way you interact with the citizens expresses what kind of president you would be. You know, I've been very troubled by Donald Trump's practice at some of these rallies of demanding that the citizens raise their hands and pledge support of Donald Trump. Listen, this is America. We don't pledge allegiance to any man. We pledge allegiance to a flag. We pledge allegiance to defend the Constitution. But it is kings and queens that demand of their subjects they pledge allegiance to them personally. And I got to say, I think that gets it exactly backwards. This is a job interview. The president especially is meant not to be above the law, and the only pledging of allegiance that I'm interested in is that I am pledging allegiance to each of you. That if you elect me your president, I will fight for the hardworking taxpayers. I will fight for the men and women of this country each and every day against the Washington cartel, against the bipartisan corruption of Washington.
Last question.
You said yesterday that Donald Trump was encouraging violence. But you've also said that you would still support his nomination if he is the nominee. Are you placing greater value in your word back from August to support the nominee over a candidate who is willing to tell his people to be violent?
Encouraging violence is wrong, and that's why I've called it out. I care about this country. I care about the future for my kids and for your kids. Donald Trump as president, I believe, would be a disaster, but I think Hillary Clinton would be an even worse disaster. She would do even more damage to this country. But I'm not interested in settling for the lesser of two evils. I'm not interested in settling for the lesser disaster. That is why we are campaigning 18 hours a day, around the clock, all around the country. And it is why we are saying Republicans unite, because Republicans don't want to see Donald Trump as our nominee. They know that he loses to Hillary and does enormous damage to this country in the process.
Why not run a third? Why not run a third ticket then?
We are going to beat Donald Trump. We are going to beat him for 1,237 delegates in the Republican nomination. We are going to be the Republican nominee, and it will happen one state at a time. And I got to tell you, Missouri is a critical battleground state. Missouri right now, Donald Trump and I are effectively tied. It is neck and neck here in the state of Missouri. If you don't want to see Donald Trump as the nominee, if you don't want to see Hillary Clinton as the president, I ask you to join us. I believe we're going to do very well here in Missouri, but we are campaigning to beat Donald Trump. We're the only candidate in the race who can and will beat Donald Trump. And if we stand together, that's not only how we win the nomination, it's how we win the general election, beat Hillary Clinton, and bring back jobs and growth and opportunity for this country.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.